I just got back from an 8-day backpacking trip in the Sierras, and I thought it was time to make a gear movie. This is a movie about all the gear I brought on this most recent backpacking adventure. I discuss and drop useful information about all the water filters available and why I bring the one that I do. I go over backpacking with the dog, crocs versus sandals, using a backcountry bidet system versus bringing toilet paper. I go over keeping your batteries charged and managing all your electronic devices. I discuss saving weight in your bear can by catching fish for food. There's tips and tricks in here about washing your clothes and managing overall pack weight in relation to all the necessary tools and equipment you need to have a successful backpacking adventure of your own. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button. Follow along. I'm sure you'll find a wealth of valuable information and tips and tricks and secrets that will help you pack and go on your own backpacking adventure. This is my kit. This is what I bring backpacking. 8 days, 7 nights at 8,000 feet or above. A lot of climbing, a lot of calories, a lot of food that needs to be eaten. It weighs, 35, 40 pounds. A lot of hobbies, things I'm doing out there. I got my fishing equipment, I got my frying pan, I'm making pour-overs, making coffee, backwoods barista, and I'm making photographs, and I'm making short films. So people have asked me to share the things I pack when I go backpacking. I've wanted to make a video like this for quite some time, partly just to sort of see it myself and have a document, so to speak, of what I am currently packing. I find that my gear changes fairly often, changes situation by situation. And I find myself in a lot of different situations. Sometimes I'm backpacking for extended periods of time in places where I have to bring a bear canister. Other times I'm just going out for a couple nights or so because I'm going for a shorter period of time. I have more luxury to bring other items that I wouldn't necessarily carry. For the most part, my backpack always has base weight and base gear items to it, and then I kind of add things as I go. But I never get a really good read on what my pack is because it's never like truly packed for the adventure until like right about like when I'm ready to go. And usually by the time it gets to that stage, I'm literally leaving like the next morning or that afternoon or whatever it is. I never quite have time to make a video such as this. So I just got back from a trip. I spent 8 days in the Sierras with a friend of mine and with Ziggy.
Slopes, we only have 2 legs.
Yeah, she's like cruising with 4.
That's the trade-off we have for having hands. Yeah, I know. It's fine.
We did a lot of backpacking, a lot of scrambling, pseudo mountain climbing. It was a really good trip, really amazing. So this is everything I brought back with me, which hopefully isn't more than I left here with. If anything, it should be less because I ate, my bear can worth of food, which the bear can alone weighed like 12 pounds. My pack weighed 50 pounds when I began. So this is all my stuff. I'm going to put this is my bag, and I'm going to put it on the scale here. Let's see. So, no way. It's got to be touching something. That's not right. 7 pounds, 12 ounces. It's got to weigh. That could be right. Let's see. Trying to think about some stuff. Oh yeah, that is true. Maybe that is right. Let's see if I can get it to stand up like this. Okay, so here's my pack. And if I zoom in here, you can see it currently weighs 29 pounds, 12 ounces. So just under 30 pounds on my return home. Let me see if I can get a better shot of this. So freestanding there, nothing's touching it. So that's just my pack. And I guess to be fair, let's see. My water bottle, my water filter. Let's see what else. Solar board here. Get out of there, you kitties. So all that stuff. There's even a little bit of water in there. Oh yeah. My sandals. See, it just starts to add up. My hat would be in my clothes bag. Not entirely sure why some of this stuff sneaked out here. Let's see, what else? My pocket knife, I was using my Leatherman recently. So I'll put this down on here also. Camera gear isn't really included at this point because I'm filming this, but this is my my bag for my tripod, so that would be on there. I'll have to weigh this tripod. It's a Gitzo Traveler. It's carbon fiber. It's pretty lightweight, but it still weighs something. This is where it's at now. All said and done, it weighs 33 pounds, 10 ounces. And that's just my backpack with a mostly empty bear can. All said and done, it weighs 33 pounds, 10 ounces. Okay, 33 pounds, 10 ounces. Just to clarify, you could consider this the base weight, or this is what my pack weighs with just the bare bones necessary backpacking equipment. Although in this situation, I do have my relatively empty bear can in it, and there's my Hasselblad in it, which is my big, heavy, medium format film camera. I'll go over that camera a little bit later, but just as a clarification, those two items, the empty-ish bear can and the Hasselblad, they probably weigh maybe 4.5 pounds total. So, and I seem to remember like my base weight of my pack being about 28, 29 pounds. Have the empty bear can and that camera in there brings me up into the low 30s, 33. Add on the full bear can before I left was, almost 11 pounds, maybe even a bit more. So 34, that's 44 now. You could call it 45 just to round up a bit. Then I have my Sony, my GoPro, and this tripod. Those three items brings me closer to 50 pounds. So my total pack weight for this trip was way closer to 50 pounds. Yeah, so that's my pack. My pack coming home weighs 33 pounds, 10 ounces. And I'm pretty sure it weighed 50 pounds. But basically, we were gone for 8 days, so I'm pretty sure my bear can weighed 10, 11, 12 pounds when I left. If my pack right now weighs, well shoot, what did it weigh, 33 pounds or something like that, and I had a 10, 11, 12 pound bear can on me, so that puts me at like 43 pounds, thereabouts, plus my tripod probably brings me closer to 45. Let's start unpacking this now. The stuff that I didn't include in my backpack was the stuff I was wearing or carrying. This is Ziggy's harness bag. We'll go over this in a second. So I have my fingerless bicycling gloves here that have pads in the grips. I've had these for over a decade. They're thrashed beyond belief at this point. I like the pads for hiking, but I think I'm going to need to upgrade some new gloves. I had a handkerchief on my person around my neck. I had this awesome Lucky Fish shirt that I love so much. I wore this every day for 8 days. I climbed Mount Ritter in it. Oh, you know what else I'm not including is my sombrero, because I gotta take my sweatshirt off. It is hot in here already. It's like the second week of October and we've had 90 plus days lately, and the last couple of days it finally cooled off, but in the morning we wake up, it's been cool, and then it warms up. This is my my bird dog of the day sweatshirt in hunter orange. Bird dog of the day, my brother-in-law Seth, his company. Okay, so I have my sombrero also. I forgot I had this. But as I was saying, I climbed Mount Ritter in this shirt. I remember I also climbed Mount Ritter in this hat. I was the best dressed person on Mount Ritter that day. So I had my hat, my Lucky shirt on my person. This hat I think I had in my backpack just to have a spare cap in the evening. I had some food in my pockets. That's good to know. I hardly came back with any food. These are the shorts. I've worn these for several seasons now. I totally blew out the backside of them climbing the mountain. And so that's why on the last day I had my merino wool long underwear on underneath. So I wasn't just like hanging cheek all over the trail as I finished our hike on the last day. So I had, this is my clothing items. I'm gonna set this over here just so we can go over it again. I also had these are my, I think these are darn tough, you know, these are my wool socks. I usually have 3 pairs of wool socks that I carry with me. 1, maybe 2 of them I wear the whole time, and I have a backup reserve one. And then these are my new Danner boots. Should have grabbed my old boots. My old boots, I had an older pair of Danners that were thrashed beyond belief, but glad to have those new ones. And then my trekking poles here that I was hiking with. These guys are awesome. I can't even imagine doing a hike without them. They really help. There's those. And my fanny pack here that I was also carrying on my person. This is like a map of the area that we were hiking in, like an actual paper map, which didn't really hardly use, but it's nice to have. Had some other things in here, the permit, my fishing license, some notes and things I was working on, filmmaking stuff, and art making things of the trip. Fanny pack, all this stuff is in this Ziploc bag. Keep it safe. So that's that. I don't know why. I had a few dollars on me in case I found a vending machine out there. Some film that I shot or didn't shoot. This was just spare rolls, I guess, rather. Driver's license and some of my business cards in there. Okay, here's some more food that I came back with. Another one of those almond butter packets. And then these are some dog bones for Ziggy, actually. Okay, here's some more food. I definitely brought way too much trail mix for some reason. I don't know, I just didn't eat it all, but I had a lot. I'm gonna go over this a little bit more when we get to the food stuff. Okay, here's some Tylenol. Again, redundancy in lighters, which I don't actually, this lighter I don't think I brought. These I did, and I have 2 more in my backpack. A couple pens and some Burt's Bees chapstick, beyond necessary. I also brought this little bamboo comb just to help keep my my mane not so shaggy. Pretty nice out there. Okay, so that's my fanny pack. Pretty simple emergency kind of stuff. You know, lighters, my comb, my chapstick, some Tylenol, my driver's license, fishing stuff, a couple spare rolls of film. I would periodically put batteries in here for the cameras just so I had a fresh one on me during the day as we were hiking or whatever. Mostly my fanny pack, this is pretty lightweight. Most of it was just food during the day, so I had food accessible to me as we were hiking. Okay, so that's the fanny pack. I'm just gonna set this over here. Ziggy's pack. Ziggy started the trip like we do most trips, carrying most of her food. And her food was 2 Ziploc bags of her dry food. And then I also got these little tiny tins of wet dog food just to give her a treat. My friend Jason brought those out on a trip we did last summer for his dog and for Ziggy. And so I thought it was nice to bring them for Ziggy and to give her a little bit more food. I don't think the Ziploc, she was carrying those Ziplocs probably weighed 3.5 pounds. So she was carrying about 6 to 7 pounds of food plus those little tins. It's kind of what she normally carries. The problem though is that as we are hiking, she just jumps in the rivers and the lakes all the time. And so some water was starting to seep into the Ziplocs, and so and you have to put all the food in the bear can at night anyways. So I just started carrying all the food, our food included, and she was kind of carrying the fuel cans for me. I always bring 2 smaller cans, usually, for an 8-day trip, if we were just going for 1 or 2 nights. I'd probably still bring 2. This is a redundancy thing. I know you can get bigger cans. I like having 2 smaller ones because sometimes you just leave the stove on, one leaks, it's nice to have a backup. Maybe you're trying to make pour over on that perfect vista overlook and you accidentally a can rolls off the edge or something. I don't know. I just like to have 2 of these. And there's a little left in here. I tend to use a pretty good amount of fuel. I'm making like traditional pour overs. So I'm boiling water for a minute, and you know, I fry fish out there sometimes if I'm trying to eat some fish, catch some fish. I tend to go through a bit more fuel than your average hiker. Caleb, who I was with comparatively, same trip and everything, but he was his word for it was miserly with his fuel. And he also is making like much more traditional dehydrating, just need like a quick boil of hot water to reheat the food kind of a thing. I was doing a bit more involved stuff. So he only brought 1 can. I had 2, you know, we were sharing everything. It was no big deal. But anyways, 2 cans of fuel. Ziggy was carrying them. This is Ziggy's harness. I love this harness for her. It's really nice. Yeah, see, these are the tubs of dog food that I brought for Ziggy that she was carrying around with her. These say 3.5 ounces, so not very much. So basically, like, Ziggy's bag also becomes like the trash bag after a while too. So she has some of the garbage in there. Here's the other fuel can, or excuse me, the other food thing that she was carrying. A wilder dog harness thing. It's awesome. I keep this bell on it just so she has some sound to her to alert any kind of creatures or just to scare off anyone that might be down the trail from us, because she's just always kind of like running ahead. You know, I don't know who she's going to cross paths with at first, so just kind of lets everyone know, other hikers and animals included, that there's a dog or someone coming on the trail. I love this harness because it has this thing on the back of it, this strap to, you know, so when we were like climbing Mount Ritter, you know, Caleb and I would like pick her up and like pass her from like one rock ledge to another or whatever it was. It's really handy. So this is Ziggy's pack. We got to do some maintenance work to it, like the fuel cans or whatever she's rolling around in there. It like blew the seam out here. So maybe Ziggy could get sponsored by Wilder Dog. Is that possible? Because this pack was getting pretty thrashed, but it's such a cool pack. Okay, so this is that. This is like some trash. Now, this is like some pieces of carbon fiber that we found out on the trail, picked up so as to not litter. Okay, so let's get this out of the way so we're not mucking the place up with this impending yard sale here. Okay, let's get the rest of the pack on the table. So this is the rest of the stuff. I'm just going to get this out of here, my fishing pole, just to kind of get it out of the way. I brought my longer pole on this trip. I have like a shorter, like the 48 inch or whatever, ugly stick, or the one that's like half this size. I just brought this longer one just to have a bit more advantage, maybe, you know, to get myself further out into some of the lakes. I caught fish at 3 or 4 of the lakes that we crossed paths with. That was cool. I always like fishing. Either way, this only weighs, like this pole, if I remember properly, it's like a half a pound or something like that. You know, it's pretty lightweight. So other than being sort of like ridiculous and sticking out of your pack, I don't find it terribly bothersome to bring, and I enjoy fishing at the alpine lakes. So okay, so this is my pack. It's a Hyperlite bag. I believe it's the biggest one they make. It's the one without the mesh on the back. I like the solid fabric, just so like things weren't getting caught or ripped or torn. I'd put some miles on with this thing. I've kind of like stuffed it and thrashed it, and it's got some little tears and things I've had to fix up and whatnot, but it's rock solid. I got the biggest one they make for a few different reasons. My thinking is like Ziggy's not that big. If there was some crazy reason that she got hurt out there, you know, in the backcountry, I could stash like all my gear in the woods and put Ziggy in this bag and hike her down the mountain if I had to. Or at least that's my, you know, when people are like, oh, what do you do about your dog if your dog gets hurt out there? I'm like, I'm going to carry her out. That's what I'm going to do. You know, like I'll put her in the bag and I'll hike her down the mountain. She's a pretty small kind of runt of the litter golden retriever. She's like half the size as some friends of ours have one of her sisters. And anyways, so I got the biggest bag for like that reason, because, you know, the family, I go out with the family sometimes and I end up having to bring a lot of stuff. When I go out, I got my fishing pole and I got my tripod and I got like all my toys and hobbies, and you know, I just end up having a lot of stuff, and I like I'd rather have a bigger bag and be able to like comfortably like work all my stuff into it than have like a smaller bag and have it too tight. So that's kind of the logic. If I was trying to go like really ultralight and was just like hiking through or doing some specific thing, then maybe I'd get like a smaller bag and I wouldn't bring all the other stuff, and I'd pack really light, ultralight as they say. But for now I got the big bag, and it's awesome. I always have the Garmin inReach clipped up here. Pretty rad. Little device to have. I'd suggest using it with their EarthMate app. The actual device is like really hard to navigate the menus and all that sort of stuff with your fingers. But if you have your phone out there and you're keeping your phone charged, you can just use that. And this basically acts as like a beacon to send the text message from your phone through the inReach to whoever you're trying to text message. So I always have that on my person. That's part of my electronic kit. Hip strap things up here. The right side, I usually have my flashlight and then my Leatherman. What did I do with my Leatherman? Oh, here it is. So this is my Leatherman Wave. And this is this black diamond headlamp. Costs a little bit of money, but it's nice because it's USB rechargeable, so I can recharge my headlamp along with the Garmin. Everything I can recharge on my solar panel here. So that's nice. On my other hip pouch here, I tend to carry either my phone or like a little point and shoot film camera. So I'll go over that a little bit more in a sec maybe. With my camera gear, but yeah, hip pockets, phone, point and shoot camera on the left, on the right side, headlamp, and my multi-tool knife. That's basically this side of the bag. On some trips I'll have like one of my cameras, my Fuji even, clipped onto my straps here. Sometimes I'll thread like my handkerchief through here. I wouldn't mind getting... It'd be nice to have a way to carry some water other than the side here, so that's something I kind of need to work on. This is the Platypus water filter. Just go over this real quick so I can just get it off the table. The IV bag kind of a thing. Fill up one bag with water from your lake, river, stream. Connect it via these hoses and the filter here. There's another little piece, and it gravity drips into this bag. I've used a lot of water filters. I've used like the old school MSR kind of one that's screwed onto an Nalgene that you like pump. I've used the bags that you fill up and then you squeeze through the filter. You know, there's some that are very useful for specific reasons and such. I've been using this for a while now and I can't imagine. I have a second water filter in here. I have the kind that just screws onto your bottle and you fill up your bottle or whatever in the stream and then, you know, drink it straight from your bottle through the filter. But this is so nice just to like roll into camp and get a big ass 3-4 liters of water, fill up this bag, and then it just, you know, it doesn't take long and it gravity drips clean water into this bag. And so while you're doing other camp chores and getting your stuff set up, your water's filtering and you have fresh filtered water. I like bringing these river sandals I've got here, these old Tevas. I know some people like Crocs. Crocs are cool. I have Crocs. They're kind of bulky. These are nice because they're pretty flat. I also just feel like the way that they strap on your foot, you know, they're, in my mind, they're a little bit like safer and better for your foot when you're like on rocks and you're out like hiking around camp and stuff than the Crocs. I also think like if something happened to my ankle and I needed to like hike out of wherever I was, I could hike out, like I could put, you know, my darn tough wool socks on and this sandal, and I'm pretty sure I could hike out of a trail way easier and better than if I was wearing my Crocs. So that's my rationale for bringing sandals. I've been bringing them for years. That's just that. Holy smokes, I'm just like rambling away here. Kitty cats, you're a bunch of trouble. Okay, so this is my Snow Peak mug. I'll go over my kitchen stuff in a little bit. This is the bag for my tripod. So I have my tripod that's filming this along with my Sony on top of it, which I brought on this trip. I also brought the GoPro here. So those are items that are not on the table or in the bag here that I brought with me. Okay, how are we gonna do this? So we'll just start unpacking some stuff here. Okay, so in this outside pocket, this is everything. So I bring 2 water bottles. This probably stinks. Ooh, it's not that bad, but gotta go wash this. So I bring this Nalgene because the Nalgene is multi-purpose. It has redundant uses. I can make a coffee and I can put my coffee in here and I can put some ghee. You know, like what else did I have a trip? You know, I had ghee, whole milk powder. I'm trying to remember. I had honey. You know, basically I'll make like a butter coffee in the morning. And so I can put all the stuff in here, shake it all up. And then I'll pour it into my mug and drink it. It's pretty nice. Basically, I can mix up a lot of liquid beverages in here that provide a lot of calories when I'm out backpacking. I can like shake up my my green drink, veggie green powder. What else? I'm like blanking on it. I made chai teas with honey and ghee, you know, chai tea powder. And I also brought this smart water bottle. This smart water bottle is useful because I have a second little water filter that screws on here. I also have this backcountry bidet that Caleb 3D printed me that screws on here. This is my cat hole shovel for going to the bathroom, digging holes to go to the bathroom. It's mostly just touching dirt. I'd wash it probably either way in the creek, but I would use this as like a spatula or something to like flip my fish in the frying pan. So that's a pretty useful tool. So these side pockets, they always have, these are my poles for my tent, and I'll have my tripod in here, and then maybe like a water bottle that I can like easily access when I'm hiking. They always have my tripod and the tent poles in them. The water bottle is handy in there. Other stuff kind of goes in and out of them as I'm hiking depending on how things are shaking down. So I've got a couple carabiners that I clip on to the back of the bag here just to hang a few things off of. Okay, so now the yard sale is coming. So inside my bag, piece of Tyvek. This is my like digital camera computer bag kind of thing. Tent sticks. Okay, this is my mess kit, kitchen stuff. Last day, I think I kind of like loose threw my stuff in, but these are some more clothing items that I brought. I'm gonna just set these with the other. I'm gonna try to like pull everything out, getting everything in groups, and then quickly go through everything here. So this is just one of those hooded sunshade long sleeve things. It's a nice extra layer. Clean t-shirt to wear around camp at night after I've been hiking all day, and my merino wool long underwear. Camera in here, my big camera that I brought with me. This is my dry bag that all my clothes actually would normally be in here, but like the last day on the trail, just like throwing everything in, not packing how you're supposed to, so it's mostly empty and all my clothes are over there. I'll go over that again. Another part of my clothes item is my puffy Patagonia jacket with a hood, keeps me warm at night. Go all over this in a moment. Okay, so what do we got here? Sleeping. This is my air pad. And actually I noticed when I was just going through there that okay, so this should normally actually be in here. Everything goes with its stuff, and this is the bag to inflate my air pad. Okay, here's the Bloody Bear can. This thing sucks. It's so heavy. Okay, so then the bottom of my bag is my sleeping bag, my tent, and I think that's it. Okay, so that's everything in my sack. Okay, so I'm gonna just throw some stuff back in here as we're packing. I'm not gonna undo my sleeping bag just because you're going back out on an adventure this weekend and I need my bag with me, so I needed to like unpack it and clean it all up and then get it like repacked with the right stuff I need. Sea to Summit is the brand. The stuff sack it came with tore a hole, and so I've got it in this makeshift stuff sack. It doesn't compress it down as nice as I'd like. but it works. I've got this extra strap on it just to cinch it down. Like I said, this is my air pad. This is like an aftermarket Big Agnes air sack. They send you these other air sacks that have like a third of the capacity and they're a heavier material. So this one's much more lighter weight. It can pump your bag up quicker. And so this is the Big Agnes Rapide. We have a couple of these, like our whole family does. I always bring the shorter one that we have. It's actually Katie's, just to have a slightly less lighter weight. Yeah, just to save a couple of ounces. Look how lazy I was. I should have put this into there, and I didn't. Everything has its place. You may notice a change in the audio quality here. I'm sorry for that. I began shooting this movie with 3 different cameras. I just gotten back from this backpacking trip and all my batteries weren't really charged and things weren't working right. By the time I got to the end of filming this, I only had 1 camera work. At this point in time, one of my cameras dropped out and it happened to be the one that I was using as my primary audio source. What are you gonna do? Okay, everything's slightly falling apart. I was shooting one angle of camera on my phone, using my phone camera. My phone is filled up and so it turned off. I need to offload my film. Offload my phone. Then the Sony battery died, so I had to replace the Sony. I should just have it plugged into the wall or whatever. The GoPro turned off because it got too hot, and I gotta see if I have another GoPro battery. I don't think I do. I just got home from this trip like a little over a week ago, and I was pretty bushed and tired, and I've just been like slowly recovering and not really, I need to offload my phone and I need to get my battery and my situations all situated. Okay, this is turning into a hell of a movie. Hopefully it's good and hopefully it's useful. My iPhone storage is all filled up, so I can't shoot my iPhone anymore, which is kind of a bummer. I was going to have an over the table here as I start to unpack some of these smaller items. Can't do that anymore. The GoPro ran out of battery. I haven't recharged any of the batteries since I've been back. I've been back for just over a week from this last trip, so everything's kind of a hot mess. Got the Sony going. Let's dive into it. This is my tent. It's a Big Agnes 2-person. I think it's the copper spur. Pretty awesome. A little over engineered. I've had it a while. I've had 2 now. The first one I had after like only 2 or 3 outings. Some of the rainfly material tore. There's just like a lot of tabs and covers and things, and I think the zipper got caught in the zipper cover. For its price point, it's amazing. Big Agnes copper spur tent. These are the poles for it, and these are the tent stakes. I only bring enough stakes to stake down the corners and then the vestibule. I think it takes at least 4 more stakes to stake it out properly. To save weight, I just bring the most necessary ones, and then I use rocks usually, or a stick that I can whittle down or whatever and make a stake out of. To save weight, I leave 4 or 5, however many more tent stakes at home. You can get a 1-person tent, but I usually have Ziggy with me. I have my daughter Finn, or like this weekend is a family trip. Sonny and Finn will sleep in the tent and Katie and I will sleep on the ground or something. The 2-person tent just kind of works for myself and my existence. If I wanted to save a pound, I could definitely get the 1-person tent, but it'd be tight for Ziggy and I. I'm a big guy to begin with. It's like, I got the 2-person. Okay. So that's the tent. I don't have the Big Agnes ground cover. I have this piece of Tyvek. This is my ground cover. The Big Agnes ground cover costs some money, and I don't know, I just make my own out of Tyvek. I actually used to have 2 of these pieces. One of them I'd keep inside the tent so Ziggy's paws don't potentially tear up the material. Carried that with me for several trips, but I don't know, now it's hopefully her paws don't tear a hole in it. So let's go through the kitchen stuff real quick. This is where I think there's a lot to be gained as far as weight and storage. I have this kettle, and there's a lot going on here. So I bring this skillet. It's not that heavy, but a few nights on the trail and you're like, what can I get out of my bag? And I don't know, this is a MSR Seagull. I've had this for a dozen years. It's amazing. Done a lot with it. The reason it's in my kit is because when I'm going to a place that has potential fish to catch, I'm usually pretty confident that I can get a fish in my pan for dinner. Like this last trip, we were out there for 7 nights, 8 days, And I think I only brought enough dehydrated meals for 4 nights. And then the first night we brought a frozen steak with us, so by the time we got to camp it was defrosted. And we had steak for dinner, which we fried in this pan. I had, like, I can tell you, I mean, I've got the trash still in here. I had the Mountain House lasagna. I had like another brand Mexican Spanish rice kind of bowl. I think I had like a pad thai. I had biscuits and gravy. I think that was it. I think those were the 4 that I brought with. And then we had fish one night. I brought 4. Had fish one night, steak another night. One night I didn't have a meal. And I did not have a meal. I had like nuts and beef jerky, and I think actually the last night there was like some instant mashed potatoes I had or something like that. So anyways, there's a lot to be gained. Like a lot of people have backpacking mess kits that's just like the pot, you know, that you boil water in or whatever. I have my skillet and I have my mug. I have this in addition to this. I bring this to boil water. You know, I've only brought this and I've boiled water in it and then tried to make pour overs, and it's just hard to do in this. So I bring my kettle. If I wanted to save weight, the first place I'd go is to my mess kit, and I'd start reinventing, reanalyzing some of these systems. I don't need to catch fish, or excuse me, I can catch fish. I don't need to go to the work of keeping them and cleaning them and cooking them out there. I like to do that. I think in certain environments you have to, or it's really necessary. Some of these alpine lakes and the Sierras, you can just backpack in some food, let the fish be up there in the mountains till the end of time, catch and release. It's just a lot of work. I have a lot of mixed feelings about it. Having a skillet, like bringing a skillet up there, catch fish and eat fish for dinner. I don't think I save enough weight in my bear can to make up for the weight of the skillet and other things associated with the skillet. This is my little stove. It just screws onto the can of fuel, and you got a stove. Keep that in the kettle. Coffee grinder is just like the top part of the grinder with no lid and nothing to catch your grinds in, and then the stupid handle, which is kind of heavy and cumbersome and dumb, and this could be reinvented quite a bit. But basically I can just put that on there, grab a filter onto the bottom of it like this, and I can grind and have fresh ground coffee and make a pour over with this Snow Peak dripper, which this thing's seen better days. The legs are taken out of it. This isn't perfect. There's not a lot of perfect camp coffee solutions out there, but if I can take some of the legs out of the spots, I can fold it up and get it to sit in my skillet here. Anyways, this is what I bring as far as my kitchen. Some foil to windscreen. I think this is pretty helpful. Protect your fuel and you know, conserve your fuel as much as possible. My kitchen. Okay, let's go into camera equipment real quick. Camera, computer, electronic sort of stuff. Okay, this is ridiculous, but I'm a photographer. I've been a photographer for basically my whole entire life. This last trip, I brought the Hasselblad up there with me. This thing weighs, I think it weighs 3 pounds. At least weighs, this feels like 3 pounds. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure it's like 3 and change. This is a heavy, medium format film camera, but this last trip I was backpacking in the Ansel Adams wilderness, which is amazing. And so I needed to have a proper camera to make some photographs while I was out there. I'm happy to have it. There was a roll of film, the last roll of the trip was in here. I've had this camera. This is one of few cameras that I bought brand new. I got this from Glacier Camera in Seattle over 20 years ago now. I've taken it all over the place. I've actually brought the Hasselblad up into the same area on previous backpacking trips. As heavy as the Hasselblad camera is, I end up bringing it quite often on many outdoor backpacking adventures with me. I just can't help it. I'm a glutton for punishment, and it makes beautiful images. I've made some of my best, most favorite pictures on the Hasselblad. Pretty beat up at this point. It really could use an overhaul service tuning. Alright, so this is the last roll I shot on our trip. That's the camera. This was like the big film camera that I brought. I love this camera. It's I can't even tell you my relationship with this camera. However, that said, I need to find a lighter weight, more practical camera to do backpacking trips with, so I can still make some film photographs out there. But I want a medium format film camera. I always like the Mamiya 6. Like, I like the square format. I got to figure that out. Brought the Hasselblad. I'm going out there and I'm shooting. You know, I just pulled a roll out of there. I shot 4 rolls of film, so that's 12 exposures. That's 48 images, and there's probably only 5 that are usable, and there's probably hopefully 1 or 2 maybe that are like amazing. I don't know, the odds aren't that bad. It's a thing to bring that out there. In this kit, I've got my, 4 rolls of 120 black and white film in there that I expose, and I have 2 rolls of film back, like extra, that I didn't shoot. I should have made a point to shoot them. I've got a roll of 35 millimeter from the point and shoot. This bag is normally the battery bag. I'll keep all the Sony batteries in here along with the GoPro battery. For the Sony batteries anyways, if they're charged, I keep them in the plastic cases that they come in. If they're not charged, you know, like I'll pull one out of the camera that's dead and I'll just throw the battery in the sack, and so that way I know which ones I need to charge up when I get to camp. And I can charge 2 GoPro batteries pretty quickly on this little USB charger. Get to camp, get my water filtering, start setting up tent, and the whole time, you know, I got the charger plugged in and it's charging, and by dinner time I'll have 2 charged batteries, if not even a little bit sooner, depending on how good the sun is. This is the battery bag. All the dead Sony batteries just go in there along with their empty cases, and then when I charge them, they go back into the plastic cases and back into the bag. The GoPro is kind of a hot mess right now. I only have 4 batteries for it. I don't know if these batteries are just getting old or what, but they would, like, after 40-50%, like at nighttime or when it's cold, like they would just want to shut off when it gets chilly. I only want to have white batteries, and I need like half a dozen of them. All the batteries go in this sack. This is a battery only sack. The charger for the GoPro, which just goes in the bigger sack here, along with the cable for it. Didn't bring a charger for the Sony. I have quite a few Sony batteries at this point, and they were all charged when I left. I mean, I can charge the Sony straight, plug the Sony into the solar pack, and it charges the battery. It was never really a problem. So I don't have a charger. I just have the cable for the Sony charge batteries through the camera. iPhone cable. I have 2 cables actually for 2 of these, whatever they are, the Sony one, the USB-Cs or whatever these. They make so many of these stupid cables now. I can charge my headlamp, can charge the Garmin on it. So like basically everything can be charged through the solar panel, with the exception of this point and shoot camera. It just takes a classic weird battery in the bottom there. I should bring a spare, I guess. I don't know. That's about it. Hasselblad doesn't take any batteries. That's all I really need to charge. Okay, so I haven't been bringing a ball head on backpacking trips just to save weight, but I finally got this small rig ball head. This thing weighs like half a pound or less. It's amazing. So this was awesome to finally have a ball head again on a backpacking trip, but I would keep it unscrewed from the tripod and keep it in my bag for most of the day while I was hiking, and then I'd take the column out of the tripod and I'd have my tripod legs stowed in my bag, but then on the column I would have the GoPro. I'd basically be using the tripod column as a selfie stick. Caleb 3D printed me this cool little GoPro mount that has a threads on the bottom to just screw it into the 1/4 inch or 3/4 inch or whatever insert you want to have on it. There's a screw that normally screws into the bottom of the ball head, but I can also screw this onto it. So during the day, I would just have GoPro on the column of the tripod like this, and it was kind of my makeshift selfie stick. It worked pretty good. It was awesome. I do kind of like having a tripod of sorts for this thing. The GoPro tripod I had broke, and so juggling up my stuff and trying out some different tactics and techniques and ways of doing things. After my camp kitchen stuff, if there was a place I would go to sort of look for some weight to drop, it would probably be this stuff, because there's most certainly a lot of weight. Like I said, the Hasselblad is a heavy thing. The solar panel is a heavy thing. I think lighter weight, more compact solar panels, they're like $100 more, and I already have this one. Okay, this 3D printed GoPro selfie stick mount thing that Caleb made for me is pretty awesome. It's just like this. And actually, I was using it here on this little tripod. I would use the tripod that this camera's on and take the head off of it and keep the head in my bag. And then I would just have, this is a mount for the ball head to connect the GoPro. So if I was at camp and I was using the GoPro, I could take it off the selfie stick situation and mount it onto here, and then I can quick release it onto the ball head on the tripod. Ball head has an Arca plate, quick release thing on it, Arca plate mount for the GoPro, and then I've got one for the Sony over there also. The Sony, I've got a, it's on this little hand grip I cobbled together, and it's got an Arca plate, quick release plate also. And I also have an Arca plate mount on the bottom of the Hasselblad. So at any point in time, I can take either the Hasselblad, the GoPro, or my Sony camera, and I can quickly put them onto this ball head onto my main tripod. It makes for an easy camera system. So at camp, I could just very easily go from GoPro to Sony and just, with these sliding base plates that lock in there like that. That's the camera setup. Brought a spare one of these screws, redundancy for the GoPro, just in case. This is the GoPro mount that you wear on your head. I never used this once for some reason on this trip. I don't know why. Just never got around to it. It's hard to be creative out there sometimes. You're doing a lot of shit. Electronic bag, cable, ball head, battery bag goes in there also. This is all the stuff that would be in this bag. Two more things here. Man, there's so much dirt coming out of my stuff. Okay, this is just like a sack with miscellaneous stuff. Maybe some room to be gained here. I don't know why I brought this extra fishing line. This is totally silly. This reel, sometimes I've got braided line on it and then a leader, and I don't know, I thought I needed more leader. It's mostly just fishing gear here. This little Altoid tin with this strap on it. All my hooks and lures. Nail clippers are kind of heavy, and I have the scissors on my knife. This makes for nice, easy, clean fishing line cutting. I can also trim my nails with it, which is sort of OCD, but if you're out there climbing, get like weird hangnails or whatever, I don't know. It's nice to have a pair of clippers. Same with your feet, your toes trimmed and clean so you're not getting blisters or weird fucked up foot deformity. There's just like some other random stuff in here. A couple of bobbers I brought just in case I was going to do some bobber fishing, either with like a little bug, like there's some hooks in here, so I could have rigged up a hook, put a bug or a worm, grasshopper on it. I also have some fly fishing flies that I could have tied to the end of a bobber line. So first aid kit, can't leave home without it. I definitely needed it on this trip. Busted open my ankle pretty good climbing Mount Ritter.
We'll get some antibiotic on that.
Caleb bandaged me up. Got to repack this with some more butterfly sutures, Neosporin, super glue, liquid bandage stuff. Beyond necessary. Another handkerchief. This should probably go in the in my clothing bag. Patch kit for my sleeping pad. This is the backcountry bidet. This is another thing that Caleb 3D printed, and it's just like cap that screws to your water bottle. This is actually incredibly genius and useful, I think. You're only bringing a certain amount of toilet paper out there. I obviously have no toilet paper left. I think I was using a coffee filter maybe. I mean, I was using this. This just, you bend over and, oh shit, squeeze out a little water. I made a whole video about using this thing. This is actually genius. I don't know, man. A bidet is nice, right? Keep yourself nice and clean and tidy down there. You don't have to use a imperial shit ton of toilet paper that you're hauling with you and then burying out in the backcountry. Okay, that's enough water all over the studio floor. I guess the one thing I'm thinking about this water bottle is it needs like the squirt cap. Like unscrewing this thing is silly. Find a squirt cap and, keep using that. So then this is the water filter for it. I think I need a new gasket for this guy, but this screws on here like this. Fill up your water bottle, and now you got a filter. Again, this sack would be the third place I'd go to. How do I lessen weight and gear in my bag? Deal with my mess kit first, really look closely at my camera gear and all that kind of stuff, and then I'd go to this sack and see what in the utility sack could be lessened. I could probably just get away with one water filter. It's nice to have a second one. I hardly use this though on this trip. I don't know. This stuff, I guess, would be in the bear box, bear can, at night anyways. Got half full bottle of Dr. Bronner's, so a couple ounces of soap. I think my bag is in here, but I ended up with this 2-gallon Ziploc bag from Caleb. I think actually it's, I'd fill that up with water in the creek, put my clothes in the bag, put a couple drops of this, wash my clothes in the bag, and then dump the water. You're not supposed to put soap in the water stream or whatever, so the idea is like you dump it 10 or 15 feet off river, up in the woods or whatever, absorbs into the ground. And that was my method for washing clothes. That's why I brought some soap. Good to wash your hands. It's nice to have a couple ounces of Dr. Bronner's in the backcountry. I also got my toothbrush cut in half to save a little bit on the handle there. That's that stuff. The utility sack. Okay, let's open up the bear can now. Bear can sucks, but you're required to have one. Once you start emptying it out and you eat all your food, then you can start jamming other stuff in there. Pretty gross. These are dirty socks, and they're covered in blood and stuff from when I cut open my ankle. They're the ones I was wearing that day. This is my rain jacket that fits down in there, so that's pretty helpful. I guess last but not least is actually my clothes. We'll go back over my clothes here in a second. Yeah, this is a big sack that I'd wash my clothes in. Fill it up with a little bit of water, put your clothes in, a little bit of soap, and just sort of like mush them all around, suds them up, get them clean. Come to last night, it became my garbage sack though, because I just had way too much garbage. For like 2 weeks now, this garbage has been in here, even longer. I don't even want to go through it, but it smells, and I feel like it's necessary because I also didn't make a real cognitive list of the food I brought. Packed the bear can several times over the course of the week leading up to when we departed. And so I just, every time I packed it, I was like, way too much, or I can't get everything in. So repack it, take some things out, pack things in different manners, open things up, take them out of their packet, wrap them up in a Ziploc or whatever. So I got, everything I thought I really could carry and need. One total luxury item, this is like, we drank the whole thing, but this is a 12-ounce bag of coffee from my buddy Dan at Factory Coffee in Kalamazoo, Michigan. I made a pour over every morning, and sometimes I had two, and I just measured out some beans in my hand grounder, ground up some fresh ground coffee, boiled some water in my kettle, and made a little pour over. Here's some of the filters for it. Okay, so I had several like baby food pouches with me. Entirely convinced on these things. This was a beef one. I think Ziggy ended up eating most of this. I had a chicken one also. The beef and chicken aren't so good. I like the veggie ones, I like having fresh spinach and kale and rutabagas and potatoes, sweet potatoes, and like apple, like some fruit and veggie ones. It's nice to get a little of that kind of thing in the mix of some of the other food you're eating on the trail. They are like these liquid things. They're kind of heavy and bulky with these stupid, this is carrying a lot of weight, so it can be examined. It has some Snickers, like little bite size. This is an 8-ounce container. It's an 8-ounce Nalgene, and I would fill this full of ghee. Ghee, right? Clarified butter. Butter coffees with my pour-overs in the morning. A little bit of ghee in the chai teas we'd have at night in camp. Cook with the ghee. I fried fish with the ghee. Fried the steak with the ghee. I put a spoonful in every dehydrated meal that I made just for like some extra calories, some extra fat. I really believe in it. It's a lot of stuff to carry. It's a big container. Really nutritious, I think. So Idahoan baked potatoes, mashed potatoes. Brought a couple of those. We had one with the steak early in the trip, and then I had one on the last night. Some empty salt and pepper packets from the In-N-Out burger. I ended up getting these like individual bone broth tubes of powder that you mix in for like 10 or 12 ounces. Tubes are kind of big and bulky, and it took up a lot of space, so I just opened them all up, and I had them in a Ziploc bag, and then every night I just eyeballed some of it out and had a cup of bone broth. I also mixed some of the powder in with some of my meals and stuff just to like thicken it up. That's why I really like having a mug at camp. The item that some may say is a little unnecessary. There's plenty of people that just backpack with one pot, fuel can in there, boil a little bit of water, put it in your dehydrated food or whatever you're eating. It's a luxury item. This is pretty lightweight. I can have my bone broth in it. I can have my tea, coffee. It's nice to like have something, just a mug, drink your your beverage out of at camp, trying to stay hydrated. It's nice to be able to have that mug and do your drinking and still have like your other way of cooking. Like you don't just have to like drink it out of your pot and you need to go boil some more water, make some more food or whatever. You got to drink up your beverage. That's my thinking on it. Like some ramen packet stuff, I believe it was. These are peanut butter packets. Here's some more baby food. These are some olives. Snagged these from Caleb. He brought too many of them, so I had some olives out there, which is nice. There's all kinds of random shit in this trash bag. Honey packets. They're just like little single-use like ketchup packets, but with honey in them. Nice for tea. What else do we have in here? I really don't want to go through this. It's so gross. I just wanted to examine though what I ate. Pomegranate Fig Newton bars. This is my one of my oatmeal pack. Kodiak high protein chocolate chip oatmeal. My buddy Dan from Factory Coffee, he sent us the beans. We also had these tea bags. They're not tea bags, they're coffee bags, but it's like a tea bag full of ground coffee. Those are nice. Yeah, I ate lots of these. Peanut butter packs. Here's another one. This is also the green fruits and vegetable, a tube of the green drink powder. The Mexican bowl, this brown Alpine Air. Pretty good food. Not my favorite. It also says like made with genetically modified ingredients on the back, which is just like, okay, I guess. Baby food kind of. This is apple strawberry spinach pouch. Another one of those. This one is pears, kiwi, and kale. Mountain House lasagna. Oh, I think this is my chai tea powder, my lemon pepper and tahini and some black, this is like a little seasoning medley I mixed together. I had one of these organic super greens, fruits and vegetables every morning. There's a little bit of electrolytes in here. This is kind of like the AG1 powder stuff. It's a knockoff of that. So I have one of these every morning. Like I have leftover chai tea and I have leftover PG tips. I think I just thought we would be at camp a little bit more than we actually were, and I'd be having a second coffee or a tea or something in the afternoon. But we were hiking a lot and we wouldn't get to camp till late at night, and I didn't want to have caffeine before I went to bed. Basically it. Otherwise I ate everything except for these 2 bags of trail mix nuts that were in my fanny pack and then 2 packets of these almond powders. So last but not least, I wanted to go over my clothes real quick. I like my clothes kit. Let's get this out of the way here. Okay, clothing. So this is my clothes. My clothes in this dry bag inside my backpack. All that's left in the bag now. I have my fingerless wool gloves here, which I never really used, I don't think, on this trip for some reason. But they're nice to have when it's really cold out in camp late at night. Pair of clean socks here, which is nice. This mosquito net hood thing. To put over my head like this, you know what I'm saying? I've never really been bothered by bugs. The last year or so I've been in some spots and the bugs have been really obnoxious, and so I think I got this from my buddy Jason. I keep that with me. So that goes in the bag. My Patagonia down jacket with a hood, I don't keep in the bag and I'll just have it floating in there separate. My Darn Tough, these are my buffalo socks. So I was hiking in these for like 5 days straight till I cut up my foot and they got all gross and bloody and stuff. 2 bandanas. I have the shorts that I always hike in. My hiking kit during the day was these shorts and my fish shirt. I hike in my shorts and my fish shirt. They get all sweaty and gross. I get to camp, I get cleaned up, maybe take a bath in the lake or something, and then I put on my merino wool smart wool bottom for that, and then I have the top. I'll maybe put the shorts back on over long underwear, but as far as waist down, the only things I have are the shorts I'm hiking in and this pair of long underwear and my socks. That's that. The top, merino wool top, shirt, fresh t-shirt put on over that in camp. This is a Young Maven, 55% hemp, 55% cotton. It's just like a nice, easy to clean shirt. So I'll have that on in camp, take off my shirt I'm hiking in and I'll wash it and I'll hang it up to dry and I'll get myself clean. And I'll put on my merino wool top and bottom, put on this t-shirt. If it's chilly out, I can put on this hooded thing. And if I'm still cold, I can put on my Patagonia jacket, just a cheap whatever kind of Carhartt beanie here that goes on my head. This is another Darn Tough like wool sock. Any of your wool stuff, it dries real easily, so you can like wash it in the Ziploc bag like I was talking about, hanging up to dry, and it's really good to go. Rain jacket. I used to not even bring a rain jacket. I would go out there, I'd get caught in the rain a little bit, I'd hide out somewhere. It was never much of an issue. Similar to the mosquitoes, the older I get, I don't know what it is, when I'm getting old, soft, I just like to be comfortable and have everything I need. And this isn't the most ideal rain jacket jacket. I think there's like some more compact, lighter weight shell kind of things I could bring with me. This is a Patagonia rain jacket. It folds down. That's what I got. That's what I use. All this clothes, like I said, goes in the dry bag. And the dry bag goes in the backpack. So yeah, this is my kit. This is what I bring backpacking. That's all. I hope this is helpful and interesting. Love to hear what you all think. Excited to maybe gain ways of saving weight or pack stuff smarter and more efficiently. Sure, there's people out there that could tell me what's up with that and teach me a few things. Thanks for watching. I hope this was a good video. If you like what you see, you want to watch more of my movies, please subscribe. It would mean a lot to me. Beardo movies, I make adventure movies, I make coffee movies, I make a variety of different things. It's not what you're supposed to do, but it's what I do, and that's all that really matters. Thanks so much. Have a good day.